All right, so I want to share something that a lot of people have overlooked. It's something that happened at the end of last year, but it is so valuable as it pertains to Ripple. Ripple, back in October, spent over $1 billion to buy a corporate treasury platform that runs cash management for some of the largest multinational companies in the world. And Subway is already one of the customers using it. And I want to bring this to your attention because a lot of people miss this. And if you missed it, then you will also miss the continuation of what this move is processing currently and how it's going to evolve as time go on. I just want to say that this was a quiet structural play by buying the infrastructure that real corporate cash flows already run on. And I'm sure the intent is in plugging XRP and RLUSD directly into that infrastructure as the settlement layer. So I do want to walk through what actually happened with the G Treasury acquisition and why it was one of the most important moves that Ripple has made in the last 24 months. Now, I'm Kamilah Stevenson, and around here we talk wealth. This is one of those moments, again, where the corporate treasury world and the XRP world has collided in a way that most people have overlooked at this point. So I'm going to talk about it. Go ahead and like the video, subscribe if you have not already, and know that this is not financial advice. Everything I share is for educational and entertainment purposes only. Always do your own research because investing comes with risk. Now, let me know in the chat, did you already hear about Ripple acquiring an enterprise treasury platform with Subway as a customer for over $1 billion? And did you think it was a meaningful move? Some of you may have heard about it already and others may have not. But again, I have to bring attention to this because back in October, they did announce this, that they acquired the G Treasury for roughly $1.05 billion in a merger and acquisition deal. Now, G Treasury, so you know, is a corporate treasury management software company based in the United States. And what it does is it runs daily cash and payment operations for large multinational corporations. And Subway is one of G Treasury's named customers. So the platform handles around 400,000 individual transactions per year for its enterprise clients. It reports 98% visibility into corporate cash positions and roughly 90% automation of payment workflows across more than 400 connected financial institutions. So this is a working enterprise treasury system that real Fortune 500 and Fortune 1000 companies use to manage payrolls, vendor payments, intercompany transfers, foreign exchange, and treasury reporting. Now, let me tell you what is important about this. Ripple is integrating XRP and RLUSD directly into G Treasury platform, which means every corporate client G Treasury, including Subway, will have native access to XRP-based settlement and RLUSD-based dollar transfers through the same software that they already use to run their treasury operations. Now, this is not a customer of Ripple. This is the integration of Ripple's settlement assets into a daily workflow of Fortune class corporate treasuries. So you have to understand what corporate treasury software actually is and why it's one of the most strategic acquisitions a payment infrastructure company can make. Corporate treasury at the scale of a Subway or a Fortune 500 company is not what most people think. It's not a department checking the corporate bank balance. It is the system that moves money between subsidiaries in different countries, manages foreign exchange exposure, which is the cost of converting one currency into another, processes vendor payments across multiple currencies, schedules debt services, manages cash forecasting, and handles all of the daily plumbing that keeps a large business solvent. Now, once a company has built its workflows on top of a particular treasury system, switching costs are enormous. Most of the time, they're not going to want to do it. And it's because integrations with banks, accounting, and operations software and reporting tools take years to set up, which means if you own the treasury platform, you own the relationship. You own the rails the corporation uses to move its money. So when Ripple buys G Treasury, what it's buying is not just a software company, it is a permanent seat at the table for every enterprise client that already runs its cash operations on the platform. And also, let me give you a historical parallel that fits this same scenario. Back in 1996, the Telecommunications Act restructured the entire phone industry. The most important thing that happened was the wave of acquisitions where the new generation of telecom and internet companies bought the legacy infrastructure of the old phone systems and then used that as the backbone for what eventually became the modern internet. So real platform shifts are usually built by buying existing infrastructure and rerouting the traffic through new technology. So you don't displace incumbent infrastructure by competing against it from zero, you acquire it. And now apply that frame to what Ripple has done. Ripple did not announce a new corporate treasury product to compete with G Treasury. Ripple bought G Treasury. Ripple now owns the existing rails that hundreds of large corporations already use, and Ripple is integrating XRP and RLUSD into these rails as the settlement layer. And again, the reason why I'm sharing this is because it's important so that you can see the movement of Ripple. And a lot of people don't know that Ripple has even done this or what G Treasury is. Now, here's the scenario. You buy the infrastructure, you reroute the traffic, and then you let the incumbent customer base migrate to the new technology gradually on a system that they already trust. So the movements are very strategic. The G Treasury acquisition is not also a one-off. It is one of the moves that has been made in a chain of structural plays that Ripple has been building. RLUSD just crossed $1 billion in market capitalization. The XRP ledger has 3.5 billion in tokenized real-world assets actively settling on it. We've talked a lot about Societe Generale, and I just keep mentioning it so you can understand the chain of events that's been happening, and also how the euro stablecoin is on the XRPL. Then you have 3 central banks that have run XRPL settlement pilots. Charles Schwab opened up crypto access to its 12 trillion brokerage base. The OCC bank custody framework, which gives U.S. banks legal permission to hold crypto assets, went live about a month ago, a little bit over a month ago. So when you are looking at the G Treasury in existence to everything that's happening, you understand that the regulatory rails are clearing, the institutional stablecoin is operational, and the tokenized real world assets volume is growing. The central banks are still running pilots, and the corporate treasury infrastructure is being acquired and retooled to settle on XRP based rails. And that's the system that's being built. And I want you to see it in its full understanding. Now, think about the multiplier. Corporate cash flows is not a side market. It's the largest market in the entire global financial system. The total volume of corporate payments processed every year worldwide is on the order of 150 trillion. I've said it before, that's roughly 50 times the size of the global cryptocurrency market, including Bitcoin and Ethereum and all the stable coins and all the altcoins combined. So right now, when companies move money internationally, those payments route through SWIFT, which is the messaging system bank used to talk to each other. And they also use correspondent banking, which is the network of the middleman banks that hold accounts for each other. So we know that process is very slow, expensive, and takes days to settle. When you embed XRP and RLUSD into the rails that handle corporate payments, you're inserting a settlement layer that clears in seconds for a fraction of the cost. So you don't need to capture all of that, by the way, or even most of it. All you need to do is capture a little portion of it. So for the volume migrating over to the XRPL, if you capture a small amount, it will dwarf every other use case combined. You only need to capture the slice currently routing through SWIFT and correspondent banking. And that slice alone, conservatively, is several $1 trillion per year. Now, I know you might be thinking, but it's just Subway. Why does it matter? Well, Subway was the headline name, but Subway is not the prize. The prize is the G Treasury platform itself, with more than, again, 400 connected financial institutions and the kind of deep workflow integration that takes years to build and is almost impossible to replicate. So once that integration is in place, every new corporate client of G Treasury gets XRP and RLUSD access by default. So that is how integrations propagate. You don't need to convince every individual corporation to adopt XRP. You convince the platform their treasury team already uses, and the adoption propagates by default. Now, one last thing about this that is underrated. Ripple paid over $1 billion in real capital. That is not a marketing budget. That is not a partnership announcement. That is a $1 billion acquisition of an operating enterprise software company, financed and executed as a real business deal with real auditors and real regulatory disclosures. So I need you to understand, these are not companies that are speculative. They don't get bought for $1 billion. Okay. The fact that Ripple is willing to deploy that kind of capital tells you exactly how strategic the corporate treasury layer is to the next phase of Ripple's growth. They are not marketing, they are buying. And what you buy with real capital, you intend to operate, expand, and integrate. So that is what it is. And the proof is right there in the movements that they are making. Now, I do know a lot of people are asking, well, where is the use case? Where's the adoption? Where's the proof that this is real? Well, G Treasury acquisition has been the proof already. It's real money, a real platform, real corporate clients, real integration of XRP and RLUSD into the Treasury stack. And so the waiting for adoption signals is over. The signals are arriving. And here's what that means for you. Ripple is buying the corporate treasury infrastructure of the next generation of financial plumbing, and the institutional flow that follows is going to compound for years. Okay. And you want to pay attention to where things are structured for your XRP when the integration matures. If you are only holding your XRP in a taxable account or in a structure that is going to expose you to taxes, then when the corporate flow scales, a significant portion of your gains is going to be a tax bill for you that you could legally avoid. So I want to have you consider that if you are holding through the conviction and watching while the infrastructure gets assembled, then the structure you choose is going to be very important. And that is something that you should choose from the beginning. The prices are still at a reasonable spot where you can accumulate. And so this is the window for you to get in. And this is exactly why I do hold a portion of mine in a Roth IRA, because every single dollar of appreciation will stay completely mine. And I love it that way. They also allow you to hold silver and gold in the same account, and it's backed by physical silver and gold. They also have RLUSD, HBAR, XDC, Stellar, Flare, Quant. And so I'm also holding some of those coins in my tax-free account. Now, the link is in the description for that, and there is a $100 funding bonus when you fund the account. And I do want to say that you can take profits at any point on your cryptocurrency, and you can reallocate that money into other commodities if you would like. You can reallocate into some silver and gold. You can reallocate into the stock market or into dividends. It's all about the game plan that you have. But I will tell you that a tax-free account is a wise decision for you to max out. And it's even wiser if you can get in while the prices are still low. So I definitely wanted to highlight that. And also just know that they do have instant ACH transfer. So the moment that you move money into the account, it does not take several days. They have just added that to their platform. All right. And I just wanted to let you know that. Now, if you do want a personalized plan around your situation and your structure and your timeline, and you know what, you may have all these pieces together, but you're just not clear on a game plan. You're not clear on how to take profit, when to take profit, what your structure should look like, the plan for your taxes. What do I take that money and reallocate into? How do I utilize XRP and create a flywheel effect so that I can produce financial freedom and generational wealth? That is something that I do in my one-on-ones. The spots are limited just because I only have a few spaces during the week to book those calls. And so the link is in the description for that. And if you also want a community of coaching where I'm walking you through this and we're implementing your game plan every step of the way, then you can join our community as well. We have so many people that are getting their entire financial structure in order, and they're elevating their mindset as well. And they are learning what it takes to actually become an investor, because there needs to be an identity shift with that. Now, again, both links are in the description for that. And also let me know, what is your favorite move that Ripple has made thus far? There's a lot of moves that they're making. And remember, they have stated that XRP is their North Star. Go ahead and like the video, subscribe if you have not already. And as always, I want you to stay wise, stay wealthy, and I'll see you in the next video.